Illegal immigration in South Africa is a complex and highly debated issue, driven by factors such as economic hardship, political instability, and conflict in neighboring countries like Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Many undocumented migrants enter the country through porous borders, often using unofficial crossing points or overstaying visas. This has been a long-standing issue, with large waves of migration increasing in the 1990s after apartheid ended and South Africa became a regional economic hub. While illegal immigration provides some benefits, such as filling labor shortages in industries like agriculture, construction, and domestic work, it also places pressure on public services, including healthcare, housing, and job availability, which can fuel resentment among citizens facing high unemployment rates. Many South Africans, regardless of race, express frustration over the economic strain and competition for jobs, sometimes leading to xenophobic violence. However, others advocate for a more humane approach, recognizing the contributions of migrants to the economy. The issue remains a major political and social challenge, requiring balanced policies that address both economic realities and humanitarian concerns.
If our new Minister of Home Affairs, Leon Schreiber, has his way, then undocumented migrants into South Africa, whether they work in restaurants or in domestic environment or in civil society or roaming, will in fact be chucked out of the country. Now that's nationalism. That's not xenophobia. That is the minister saying, let us ensure that jobs are going to South Africans and to legal migrants who are applying for asylum in South Africa. Absolutely. Let us ensure that undocumented migrants coming into South Africa, for whatever reason, and we understand how pathetic their situation in their own country actually is, but we've got our own problems. Let us understand that those undocumented migrants coming into South Africa are taking South African jobs. The argument has always been that South Africans don't want to work at those jobs. They're not happy to be laborers any longer. They're not happy to work on gardens or be domestics or work in waiting positions in restaurants. But that's nonsense. The average South African who is under the age of 20 or 25 are looking for work, are hungry for work, are prepared to work, are productive, are educated, but remain unemployed, and principally because of those migrants coming into the country. Statistics South Africa would tell you a different story. They're telling you that, in fact, we don't have a problem with undocumented migrants in this country. They are a minority compared to the rest of the population. The real question is, who are they gathering their statistics from? Undocumented migrants are not going to answer surveys. They're not going to say, we're here illegally, and we're working, and we're making money, and we're sending that money back to Zimbabwe or Kenya or Ghana or wherever in Africa we've come from. They're not going to own up to that. They're not going to say it. When Statistics South Africa come knocking, those people are going to fast disappear. So the bottom line is Stats South Africa do not know their you-know-what from their you-know-what. The bottom line is we have a migrant crisis. Ask our hospitals whether we have a migrant crisis. Ask our hospitals whether the medicine and the medical treatment are not going to people who in fact are not South Africans. Now, as Minister Schreiber issues this warning to undocumented migrants, irrespective of where they're coming from, there are a number of political parties who obviously are going to have to start shaking in their boots. Because the reality is they've depended on these undocumented migrants for votes, for support politically, sometimes even financially. Now, they're going to have to depend on South Africans voting for them. So watch this space. Either Leon Schreiber will be successful, or he will horribly fail because the rest of the GNU will completely handicap him. Only time will tell. And the real other question is this: will law enforcement play the game? Given that there are particular segments of migrants who are responsible for major crime in this country, and we hear day after day, week after week, media reports. The last, by the way, being a whole group of Portuguese butchers who were in the country who had been kidnapped. Bottom line is, Law and order in this country doesn't exist to the extent it should. It is not a center of excellence. And the question is whether the Minister of Police, who used to be our Minister of Water, will now in fact step up or not. Yes.
Motani yake.
Yes.
Yesterday, they arrested the Mozambican that was he escaped from jail in Mozambique. He specializes in fortuners. They hijack, kill people that drive fortuners, and they move it to Mozambique. That's what he specializes in, fortuners. He was arrested in Sandton yesterday. Now, why am I mentioning that? A year ago, they arrested a security guard in Franschhoek that was responsible for the killing of hundreds of people, thousands of people in Rwanda. So many of you here called me xenophobic. I've embraced that. But here's the issue. This is the uncomfortable thing that you don't want to hear, but you're going to hear today. Illegal foreigners working in your houses, working in your businesses, you don't vet them. You leave them with your children, you don't know who they are. Some of them, when they're in jail in Ethiopia, when they get released from jail, they come to South Africa. When they're in jail in Zimbabwe, when they release, they come here. All illegal foreigners need to leave this country. You stand, you say, it's subtle racism. When you start saying stuff like, but Zimbabweans are hard workers, South Africans don't want to work. No, it's not about South Africans don't want to work. It is your racism that you are hiding, that you prefer a foreigner because they have no rights, they have no union, they have no recourse. I'm saying to you, illegal foreigners are the biggest problem facing us. And if somebody kills your brother, your sister, your mother, and they are not documented, it's only then when you'll see the harm that illegal foreigners are causing us. They come here, no papers, they come here. So I'm saying to you, go to every restaurant in Cape Town, there's illegal foreigners working. Stop hiring illegal foreigners. Get somebody that's South African that you can vet, that you know if something is missing at your place, you'll know, you will help the police to find them. Illegal foreigners should, if PEPFAR disappears, it's 70% of the HIV, the fight against HIV/AIDS budget. Illegal foreigners, in my opinion, should not even be getting medical attention in South Africa. It might sound inhumane, but you have medical aid, I have medical aid. The people that don't have medical aid must stand in the line, and there's 10 Zimbabweans ahead of him. The people that applies for housing must stand in the line because there's 300 Mozambicans on that same housing list. South Africans, I'm saying to you today, you guys are the captains of the industries. It's time for us to agree that 12% of our prisoners in jail are illegal foreigners. That can't be normal. So I'm still saying to you, Abahambe, they must go. Next year, when we start the campaign, we are coming to all the businesses, all your businesses that are hiring illegal foreigners, and we're going to give you South Africans to work there. Because you seem not to find South Africans that can work. We will bring you CVs of people that can work. Get rid of your illegal foreigners now, because next year is not going to be easy.
It's a huge, huge issue politically in the north. Is it starting to become as big an issue politically here?
Here's the issue. What you don't know is that the whole of Europe, all the illegal foreigners in Europe, all of them put together, it's half of the illegal foreigners we have in South Africa. That's a stat that you don't know. It is going to be an issue. Politicians that says today, no, illegal foreigners are welcome here. When the tide turns, they will say another issue. It's a big problem here. We're going to fight for it. It is becoming a political issue. Donald Trump was chosen president at the back of standing firm. Some of us has been fighting this issue. We are going to turn on the volume higher. We are not going to turn back. It is the biggest issue facing this country because South Africans will not continue to watch the majority of these people hiring illegal foreigners while they don't have jobs. Sooner or later, shit is going to break out. We must prevent that from breaking out. They've taken advantage of our country. It is time for them to go home. And most of you in this room are the enablers. You are the enablers. When there's xenophobic attacks, and we pray it doesn't happen, you played your role in that because this is South Africa for South Africans. And when you have illegal foreigners here, the governments in Africa, where they're coming from in the rest of Africa, they love sending the young males here because they know they're the ones that can topple them. They're the ones that can march against them. They're the ones that can protest against them. So they send their problems to South Africa. We have enough of our problems in South Africa. Those problems need to go back.
Meanwhile, the Public Servants Association has called for decisive action to be taken against undocumented immigrants. PSA KwaZulu-Natal manager Mlungisi Ndlovu joins us now for more on their participation in this march. Mr. Ndlovu, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with why your participation in this demonstration. Your organization, we all know it represents public servants. What statement were you making today?
So as PSA in the province, we participated to this march because illegal immigrants affect our services. You'll appreciate that some of our hospitals are overcrowded, not only due to South African citizens, but you've got foreign nationals who are here illegal that need to be serviced. If you go to Home Affairs, you find them in some of the schools, you find them because if they've got kids in South Africa, by law, we should be able to allow them to access these public facilities. It is for these reasons that you cannot have a country with over 2 million undocumented illegal immigrants. And PSA has been on record to say government has just established border management authority without resources. If you look at our borders, you deport them today, in next week, they are able to come back because not even South African Defence Force have enough capacity to deal with such documented. And our main concern is that if you look at the unemployment rate in our province, in particular, you've got the restaurants, you've got fuel stations who've employed undocumented foreign nationals, even in the constructions industry. We are saying as PSA, we have reached a crisis because they are not only here illegally, some of them they are here committing serious crime. That's why even in court, our court interpreters are busy interpreting for foreign nationals, mostly from Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, and other countries. You even have Pakistans, those that are here legally, we're saying we support them. That's why we're saying as PSA, we supported this particular march to say something that needs to happen. We have accepted these undocumented foreign national as a ways that we should be able to accommodate everyone. Yeah. Every such countries in Africa or Eastern Africa must take responsibility of their citizens. Government complain about budget, and some of the budget now is utilized for foreigners. Some of them use fake IDs in terms of accessing certain services. And we are saying as PSA, action needs to be taken. It can only be taken if they can be able to ensure that you increase, you recruit more subs, you need more South African Police Service on the ground. Border Management Authority must be on the ground and make sure that after people have deported to their countries, they also engage our sister countries in Africa to ensure that they take responsibility because we cannot be able to breathe anymore.
Yeah, I hear you and your statement that says something needs to happen. I want us to explore that a little more. The people that came out today, in their numbers, they're members of the public, I would argue mostly, and they are clear, enough is enough. But you are an organization that represents mostly government workers. I would argue that you have more power, more influence in order to affect immediate change. What is it that you can do with that power?
As PSA, we are law-abiding organizations. We're not aligned to any political organizations. Whenever we engage with our members, we always preach to them to say they must make sure that those that are working with criminals are being exposed, they are being reported. But the role that we have been playing, we have been saying, you need to be able to employ more people to be able to deal with illegal immigrants. Because if you can look at eThekwini alone as a metro, you find that they are everywhere. You can't even find accommodation. That's why as PSA will continue to influence government at the national level to ensure that we are able to say in the border management authority, employ more people, invest more in your borders to ensure that our borders are more secure. That's why during Easter holidays and December holidays, you'll see more foreign nationals who want to exit South Africa. That's why as PSA, we are saying we must be able to ensure that all the agencies of the states, they work together. The South African Defence Force, the South African Police Service, the Home Affairs, they are all working as a block to deal with it. But the other important part, you must deal with criminal elements, whether it's from SAPS, whether it's from Home Affairs, to ensure that those that are working hard, because the majority of the public servants are working hard to deal with these criminal activities, because we cannot accommodate the entire Africa. That's why each and every country must take care of their own country. You don't expect to have Pakistans that are running shops where you have South African. You don't expect restaurants that are that's supposed to play a critical role in increasing economic growth. The Department of Labor, Employment and Labor must employ more labor inspectors. Those businesses who are found to have employed people without documentations, their license must be taken away, because they must operate in an ethical manner and promote corporate governance. That's the rule of the PSA, to say we must respect the rules of this particular country. All of us, we must respect activities in our communities. We live with these documented foreign national, whether they are black and white. We must be able to play a role, because some of them, they think it's free for all in South Africa. We must not only march and we must be able to take action.
Well, that is exactly the point. That is what I'm asking you. I hear you, and you are speaking with a lot of vigor, but the labor movement, as we have come to know it in this country, its power, its biggest power, is that of withdrawing its labor if the government of the day is not listening. Are you prepared to withdraw your labor to force government to take a much tougher stance against people who come to South Africa illegally?
So what we're saying is PSA will continue with the dialogue, because we must be able to engage. As you know, that as part of collective bargaining process, where we don't agree, whether at naked level, we will be able to go on the street, but we must exhaust all the engagement level, because yes, as labor we have power, but we believe that the state has more power, because they must empower resources. But what we see now, government is cutting down on budget. The people that are supposed to assist, whether in Home Affairs, in Border Management Authority, whether in SAS, government also has a responsibility. So what we're saying, we must work together. We have been on the street before and raised some of these particular issues to say, employ more people. And people, when we said you must increase the capacity within the state, and people think that it's only for our self-interest. You cannot be able to control undocumented illegal immigrants without having enough human capital, which they play a critical role. So we are saying government have took a decision in about 2018 to have border Management Authority, but they must build capacity, they must invest there, you must have more. But before you can support your border authority, we'll work with government. When we identified illegal immigrant, where we need to report, we'll report as PSA. And we're also calling appoint our members where they operate to say, PSA operate within the law. We promote service excellence.
Yeah.
Whether you work in home affairs, make sure that people who try to bribe you, able to report them, because we believe majority of them, they are people that are care about South Africa.
Yeah.
We must now prioritize our citizens. All of us, we have a responsibility. It's not only a responsibility of a union or responsibility of the state. We must work as a collective to deal with these illegal immigrants so that we protect our job, we protect our economy, because the majority of them who operate shop and some business, they're not even paying VAT. They're
Yeah.
not even paying tax.
Okay.
It is for this reason when we're saying we must take action as a collective. It's not being xenophobic when we raise some of these issues, but we must work together, all of us, deal with these issues so that we address as soon as possible. The message that we're saying to the president, they must prioritize employment of more personnel that can be able to deport them. But before you deport them, make sure that all our borders are closed.
Mr. Ndlovu, you have said everything that I think honest South Africans will agree with. And it is absolutely something that I think we can all agree with as South Africans. But let's come to the crucial point now. Final question. You have said that government workers, those that are found to be assisting in people getting into our country illegally, oftentimes it is government workers themselves. And yes, I hear you. People must report those that they see as perpetrating corruption. How many people, how many of your members as the PSA have you reported for doing wrong, whether it be corruption or taking bribes? How many people have you reported doing such?
I might not have a statistics in front of me how many that have been reported, but we have always said to our members, because the majority of members that work in home affairs, SAPS and border authority, they are doing justice. Those people that have been found to have done something wrong, they still need to go through the process, because until they go through the disciplinary hearing and have a right to be represented in those particular processes. So as a PSA, our rule is to ensure that we provide services, but you've got SAPS that has a responsibility, and you've got society that people report through whistleblowers to ensure that they disclose if there are any people who are doing something wrong. But we must not really move away to say the majority of our members are ensured that they provide the services that they are required to service, and what we're saying, the majority of them want to work. That's why we're saying they must increase and employ more public servants to deal with these undocumented. There are many of them that have been arrested. When you talk about people who deport illegal immigrants, are the people who work from Home Affairs, Border Management Authority. When they do their job, they do report and record them. And majority of them, they are the ones who go to court to testify and give evidence. So that's another ways of reporting and taking action, because we are saying Border Management Authority, look at how many people were deported last year and last year. It is from our members. These are the officials, but they lack resource. They need support. That's why we are saying government must provide this particular support. When opportunity arises, when people are doing the wrong things, we'll be able to report. But what we're saying, when members are charged for a certain allegation, we'll represent them, because it is their constitutional right to be represented. But we are saying we thank those members who continue to play a critical role in deporting undocumented illegal immigrants. They are doing a great job, and it is part of the PSA values to say we must be able to promote ethical leadership. That's what we are promoting.
Okay. Mlungisi Ndlovu, thank you very much for your time. He is a manager in the KwaZulu-Natal structure of the Public Servants Association.
Who are trying to collapse our country because tomorrow they won't be here. They'll all be dead. Right. But we'll be here in the next 20 years. Then we must account for the decision we took 20 years ago. There is no country. You are South Africans because of time. So you can't be naive and say that we must fight all foreigners. You are mad. You are right. So we are going to fight in defense of the laws of our country. And being undocumented is against the law of this country. So we'll fight all undocumented foreigners and ensure that South Africans are put best in South Africa, full stop. Anyone with a problem can go create another platform where they fight all foreigners. We're not fighting all foreigners.
To KwaZulu-Natal, where scores of protesters will be marching to the Durban City Hall, where they will hand over a memorandum of grievances against illegal immigration. They say undocumented foreign nationals have contributed to the high levels of crime in their communities, urging officials to intervene. Let's now get more of what's expected to unfold from our reporter Pila Mtembu, who's joining us live from Durban. A very good morning to you, Pila. It's not the first time that we're hearing this cries, even with the former king of the Zulu nation. This was a matter that was raised even back then, and remember all of the protest action that took place, and even the Human Rights Commission launching investigation into some of his remarks, and these calls are back again this morning.
Absolutely, Aldrin. And the South African citizens that are going to be marching here today have also been saying that they feel as if government is not taking the issue of illegal immigration seriously, because as you've already mentioned, there's been quite a number of occasions where they have been calling for the South African government to actually curb illegal immigration, calling for stricter border control as well. So they've decided to come back once again here to the street. Right now we are here at the King Dinizulu Park at the Durban CBD. As you can see, some of the protesters there are those who are in white t-shirts. So we are expecting for the momentum to actually pick up as the time goes on. There are also Metro Police officials that you can see far back over there, Aldrin. Those are responsible for traffic control when it comes to such occasions. No visibility of the SAPs as yet, which are we know are responsible for the safety when it comes to such protests. So what we can expect is for this road over here, which is commonly known as West Street, to be closed off. This is one of the roads which is utilized the most by motorists. It leads further inside the Durban CBD, and we can expect, as I've said, for it to be closed. We do not know for how long at this point, with the protesters marching to the Durban City Hall to hand over the memorandum. So they have been complaining of several issues, saying that undocumented foreign nationals make it quite difficult for them to access job opportunities, saying that in a number of establishments, which are businesses, they are given preference now, and that even when they try to seek urgent medical assistance, they find that even hospitals are overcrowded with some of the foreign nationals over there, Aldrin. So those are basically some of the things. And the issue of crime, we have seen on quite a number of occasions where there have been undocumented foreign nationals being implicated in criminal activities. So basically those are some of the reasons that they are bringing forward today, saying that they are, the reasons why they are hosting this march here today. So we can expect for that particular memorandum, as I said, to be handed over, and also hopefully hear from the government authorities with regards to the way forward.
Thank you so much, Pila Mtembu, there joining us from the Durban City Centre. We
Guys, I'm Teresa. I'm from the Patriotic Alliance. I am glad to be part of this. We at Patriotic Alliance believe that illegal foreigners should go. They must home. They must go home where they belong. We need our hospitals back. We need our schools back. We need our country back. We need them to go home. South Africa into esizelela ilodwa igama lilodwa izwe elethu eSouth Africa asingaxoxi sixoxe ngezwe lethu uma kuukuthi thina senza ilutho thina sesikhulile will be failing ingane zethu uma sihamba lana abantwana bethu what are they going to inherit the fact ukuthi sebekwazi ukuthi benze amavideo atrendayo athi abayindawo sithi phansi ngabaphansi niyabesaba yini na
to support struggle sokuthi abantu bokhamba asibafuni kuyiqiniso ukuthi lento sesiyibukele phansi okanye kuyiqiniso ukuthi thina community yase South Africa sesambe sahamba kwabukeka ngathi siyabasaba labantu and sebeyazenzela now it's the time ukuthi thina njengama South Africans sivuke silwele izwe lethu and njengamanje bengifisa njengoba usisi Jessica ethe uma ngabe abantu abavote ngengqondo bangavoti ngokuthi nje bayavota and kulesi sikhathi uhulumeni uyasidayisa singama South Africans imisebenzi asinayo and uhulumeni wethu usibribe ngo 270 I mean ngo 370